What's up, everybody? My name is Roz, and I am going to do a tier list for all the Premier League teams this season. I'm not going to try and fluff around it. I'm just going to give brief, simple explanations as best as I can. I'll probably want to explain some details, but without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this upcoming season for the Premier League for 2025-2026. All right. So, as you can see here at the bottom, we have all the teams, and we have the different rankings. You know, we have the champions of the Premier League, who's going to qualify for the UCL, who's going to make it to the Europa League, etc., etc. Let's start first with who will be relegated. Now, for the past two seasons, we have seen the teams who get promoted immediately descend again and go right back into the championship. I think this year we are actually in for a pleasant surprise where one of them will stay up, right? I think, unfortunately, two of them will go down. And the two that I think will go down, I would love to see Sunderland stay up with Shaka, but I think Sunderland will stay down. I just don't see them. They got Shaka, and that's great experience, but I don't see if they had maybe they still might get somebody. I don't know, but I just don't see it happening for them. With Burnley, I know they got Kyle Walker, but they're losing James Trafford, and I just think as well they struggled last time they were up. It's just my gut's telling me they're not going to make it. Now, who from the Premier League will be going down in the Championship? Because I said I only think two will be relegated. I think Wolverhampton will be relegated this season. They had an okay season. I mean, they kind of struggled last season. Luckily they were able to make it out, and they actually did better than Tottenham, for example. But I do think this year is going to be extremely tough for them. They haven't really made any impressive or big moves, in my opinion, to help them stay afloat in the Premier League, and they've lost some of their better players. So unfortunately, I do see Wolverhampton being relegated. I hope not, but that's just what I think will happen. Now, who is going to avoid relegation? Who's going to be right there on the brink that just avoids it? None other than Leeds United. I think Leeds they also could be the ones that are relegated, and maybe Sunderland stays up, maybe Wolverhampton, maybe Burnley. I don't know. I think those four teams will be fighting relegation, though, the whole time. But what Leeds has is a lot of current experience in the Premier League. The past seasons they've been in there, when they had Rafinha, they were quite exceptional. And I think just with their experience in the Premier League, they will be able to function and manage a little bit better. So those are my four picks. I think relegation, Sunderland, Burnley, Wolverhampton. Avoiding it just by a small margin will be Leeds United. So now we get into the lower mid part of the table. This is rankings 13 through 16. And I'll start first with ranks 13, and then I'll move down to 14, 15, 16. So I think 13th place, we will see Crystal Palace. Now, I know Crystal Palace actually has done better in the last couple of years, but assuming that they lose Eze and assuming that they lose Gehi, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think they could go lower than 13th. So I might even put them 14th or 15th. Yeah, oh man. They are definitely going to be fighting. They're definitely going to be fighting. So let me go ahead and finish out the rest of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Brentford 14th. They just signed Jordan Henderson. He's a good player, but they are going to be losing players like Mbuemo, Wisa, Norgard. So I think they're going to struggle. I think it's going to be difficult for them, but they'll probably make some signings and still survive because the structure and the team that has been left behind, that Thomas Frank, I should say, left behind, I think is exceptional as far as their chemistry and their cohesiveness. So I would put them around 14th, especially with leadership from Jordan Henderson, in my opinion. After that, I part of me would love to say United and just troll them, but no. I think it'll be Everton. I think Everton will probably finish around 15th again. They're not amazing, but I think they're good enough to avoid relegation. So I could see Everton being put in that same area. Nothing crazy, really. And then finally, to round it off, I do think it will be Bournemouth. Now, here's where I'm going to change it. I think Bournemouth, sorry, I don't know why I pronounced the whole thing. I think Bournemouth will still have a solid structure with Evan Nilsson, and they'll still have Justin Cliver. I think they will be okay, and usually they're pretty good at bringing in new signings. So I see Bournemouth still putting up a good fight. So we'll go with that. I think 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, in that order. That seems about right. Moving up from mid-tables, 8 to 12, I do think Manchester United will finish within that area. I could see it being 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th, quite frankly. But that is where I see them finishing, is in that mid-table section. I just don't think they've made the signings and enough firepower to justify them being in the top again. So that is kind of my reasoning and explanation for them. Moving on after that, I think Brighton will also finish within that mid-table area. They're usually pretty well run. They may still be having Baleva come back and help them out. So that would be a big bonus for them. We don't know where he's going or if he's going yet. And I think, actually, I'd probably put Brighton above United. So let's say for now, Brighton 8th, United 9th. After that, I have Fulham. I think Fulham is a decent team. They usually put up good fights against the better Premier League teams, but they also can drop points against the lower-end teams. So they're usually just right there in the middle. They have Anthony Robinson, though, who I think is one of the best left-backs in the league, and he definitely brings them up a level. And we'll see if he continues in form, if he'll continue with his same actions and his same performances that he's been having recently. So, yeah, after that, now I'm going to put West Ham in here. I want to say that West Ham will do better than they did last year, but they did just lose Kudus, so I could be wrong. But they still have Bowen, and I just feel like West Ham's a team that they know how to struggle through the Premier League, if that makes sense. Like, they know how to play for their opponents. West Ham's a team that can go up against anybody and still usually do a decent job performing against them. So let's stick with that for now. I'm going to put West Ham there in that region. And then after that, I do see Nottingham Forest going, probably Nottingham Forest 8th, if I'm being honest. So let's go ahead and put that 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Yeah, that looks good to me. I think Nottingham Forest is a pretty good team, but unfortunately for them, I just think they had a very good run last season. I don't see that same luck lasting. I could definitely be wrong, but I just don't see it. I just don't, unfortunately. Now after this, I do think Newcastle will be in the Conference League. They're going to be playing a lot of UCL ball, which is going to tire them out, and they're going to have to play the Premier League and the Carabao and the FA Cup, and they're losing some good talents, specifically Isaac has requested to leave. I don't know where he's going, fingers crossed Liverpool, but obviously we don't know. I just don't see Newcastle thriving to the same degree, knowing that they could be losing their star gunman and playing in so many competitions. I feel like they're going to have to cut their losses and kind of focus on one or two of the competitions, and I don't see the UCL being that main priority, if that makes... not the UCL. I don't see the Premier League being a super big run for them, just in my opinion. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on. Europa League. So 5th through 6th, I do see Tottenham getting in here. I think Tottenham under Thomas Frank will be exceptional. This sounds crazy because I just said that I don't think Newcastle will be able to function with all the different competitions, and now Tottenham is also in that same UCL, PL. They have the Carabao, they have the FA Cup, but I think what Tottenham has going for them is a better structured manager. I think Ainge was a good guy, good heart. His tactics sometimes were a little crazy. He was overexpending his players. And I think Thomas Frank is much more balanced and much more level-headed. I think they're in for a good run, especially after they signed Kudus as well. They should be looking better. And then as well, we're going to put Aston Villa. Now, this could change. I know that Aston Villa could be selling Emi Martinez. They could be selling Ollie Watkins. I if they're able to retain them. This is if they're able to retain them. I see them finishing the Europa League. They have a strong midfield with Onana, Kamara. They're super talented, very strong, and I just think they have that experience right now playing together for so long that they'll be fine because they're in their conference league. It's like Chelsea last year. They didn't have to put as much focus in the conference league, and they could play some of their backup players so that they could still do well in the Premier League and focus on the other competitions. I think that same thing will apply to Aston Villa, 100%. So now we move on to who is going to finish with the UCL. I think we'll start with spot number 4 and then move to 3 and then 2 and then 1. I think coming in 4th, we will have Chelsea. Now, Chelsea looked pretty decent in the Club World Cup. They had their struggles against Flamengo, but they do have a strong squad. I think they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of different rotation they can use. It'll be very beneficial for them, but I do think, unfortunately, they just don't have as much consistency as the other 3 teams listed down here below. And I think that consistency will hurt them. Usually, like, midway through the season is when they have their, like, they either start strong and end strong and then struggle through the middle, or they start weak, do okay through the middle, struggle at the end. I just haven't seen that consistency from them. So I'm going to put them 4th. In 3rd, I do have Man City. Part of me thought maybe Arsenal could go 3rd and Man City 2nd or Man City 4th. But what Man City lacks right now is defense. Their center back pairing is just all over the place. The fans are wanting Kusanov. Ruben Diaz has not been at the same level as he used to be before. And just Aitnaudi, he's a wonderful player, especially on the ball. I worry about his defensive output, though, and I don't know how that's going to go. Gavardiol, great player. Where does he fit on the team? Will he be left back, left center back? And then at the right back situation, they're playing Nunes. I mean, I don't think he's a natural right back. He's adjusted somewhat well, but it's just not natural for him. And I think they will struggle defensively, and it'll cost them. So I do think they'll finish 3rd. Arsenal 2nd. I'm just gonna say it. Arsenal 2nd, Liverpool 1st. Now let me explain. Arsenal will be getting Gyökeres, which is a very good signing for them in my opinion. Saka will have a little bit more firepower of someone who he can feed, and it'll be super beneficial. A lot of it depends as well on Odegaard. Will Odegaard come back in form, or will he stay at the same level that we saw previously? Will Zubimendi adapt well to the Premier League? Will he be able to bring that extra push? I don't know. A lot of it is, can they get their new signings up to speed fast enough with how the team plays? Because the way that Gyökeres was playing, the way that Zubimendi was playing with their previous teams, I feel like is not going to match the same play style that Arteta has implemented into Arsenal. So it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust. And I think they just won't have as much time as they need to try and get that full adjustment to get as many points as possible. And Liverpool's champions, I mean, they repeated last year with essentially one signing who played 5 games in the Premier League, not that crazy. And now they've brought on a lot of new, really good players. Kirk has to fill on Robinson in his position, make that left back his. Frimpong could be playing anywhere, honestly. He could be playing right back, right wing. He's a super fast player who just brings a lot of attacking threat. You got Ekitike, who is looking like he could be, his potential is so high. And if it can be unlocked under Wirtz, under Salah, it's going to be incredible. And then the other thing you have to remember is that we have Florian Wirtz. This guy is insane. He's one of the best talents in the world. He's not just the best young player in the world. I would say he is one of the best players, period, in the world right now. His playmaking is insane. His dribbling is insane. He's able to get to different positions at different times. He's able to make runs, passes. He's just so well-rounded as an attacking player that he's going to bring this whole Liverpool attack up another notch that we saw last year. It's going to be even better. Salah is Salah. He's going to do Salah things. Virgil van Dijk is still so strong in the back. Konate is going to hopefully be coming back healthier, playing even better. That center back pairing of them two is very good. And the midfield, I mean, you have now Wirtz playing as the 10, but you'll have Soboslai, you'll have Curtis Jones helping in with rotation, Gravenberg, McAllister. and then Endo to close out game. It's just there's so many options for Liverpool, so many different ways to rotate, so many different ways to attack. Slot has gotten his players, and historically with Slot, he's done well once he has gotten the players he wants to make the changes he needs. So I think this year we saw a very good Liverpool team, and we're going to see an even better Liverpool team now that Slot has kind of gotten the people he needs. So it's going to be an exciting season. I am really excited. I think there's going to be a lot of competition. This is all just a prediction as well. There's still movements going on in the transfer market. I could be totally wrong, but in the end, I do believe that Liverpool will be champions just due to Slot's tactics, the rotation, the versatility of the players. It's going to be an incredible season to watch. If you've stuck around this long, thank you so much for staying. Please subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Leave a like, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!